And now, ladies and gentlemen, a program of opinion, Sports Wrap, with Ted Teevan.
Don't hold your breath because Johnny Rodgers has not arrived as yet. I've been informed that Johnny Rodgers is on his way by taxi from downtown Montreal, where he lives. And if it's disappointing for you, I'm very disappointed also. I don't know what went wrong, but it was late on, and Rodgers is on his way. I cannot tell you what time in the next hour Johnny Rodgers will be here. You're listening to Sports Wrap. I'm Ted Teevan. And the numbers to call are 790-0933 and 630-8611. If anybody's got a score with the Cardinal Braves game, an up-to-date score, if you happen to be listening to it on one of those far-out radios from Metro Camera, if you can call it in, we'd appreciate it, because that's an all-important situation now. If the Cardinals lose, they were losing 2-0 to the Braves. Carl Morton on the mound pitching for the Braves. If the Cardinals lose with the Expos win this afternoon, happy days are getting a little closer. Anyhow, Johnny Rodgers is on his way, I'm told. I feel very badly, as you all do, that he's not here right now. I'm not in a position to offer any excuses because I don't know what has gone wrong. Sports Wrap, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air, please.
I don't know if you made up your mind about taking me to the football game.
No, I haven't.
You haven't yet?
I haven't yet.
When will you?
Are you the guy that called last night?
Yeah.
You want me to take you to a football game?
I take you.
But I told you that I go with 4 or 5 people. What do you want to go to a game with me for?
Well, you said to talk, about the Argonauts.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I don't see any way that you and I can get together because you've got 2 tickets.
Yeah.
And I'll be going with 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really see how you and I will be able to sit together, but we can talk about it right here. After that game is over. Is that cool?
Eh?
Is that cool?
Yeah.
That's okay? Thanks for your call. Johnny Rodgers is on his way. I repeat, I don't know what time he'll be here. And I'm only here for 1 hour. So keep your fingers crossed that that taxi cab will take him to CFOX directly, safely, not too swiftly, because we're not looking for speed. I want him to get here. The numbers to call are 790-0933 and 630-8611, and you know that Mike Marshall did his thing again today. Torres was the winner. Big help from Mike Marvelous Marshall. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. Okay, that's something that happens. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah.
Ted?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask one thing. Do you think that there's any one player in the major leagues that is more valuable than Mike Marshall?
No, I don't at this particular moment.
But do you think that he will win the most valuable player award?
You see, we've been talking about this on Sports Wrap since June the 11th, praising Mike Marshall, right?
Well, he's so good.
He didn't even get on the All-Star team, but we knew better, didn't we?
Of course.
And right now, the rest of the National League is starting to sit up and say, hey, Mike Marshall, he's got to be something else. But we knew it, didn't we? And that's what riles me, because this is an expansion club that the others seem to overlook it. They don't expect solid material from an expansion club, do they?
And I'm also mad about...
My vote goes MVP Mike Marshall. As a matter of fact, you might be interested in this. Coming up in the next half hour, Ellie has an exclusive interview with Mrs. Nancy Marshall. And you'll hear Nancy Marshall talk about her husband in a completely different side of Mike Marshall, about his education and what he does in the off season and so on. I've heard it. It's very entertaining. Next, go ahead.
Also, I think Bob Bailey's having a better season than Ron Santo, but the fans of America just seem to overlook everything, and they pick their favorite. And Bob Bailey is having a better season than Ron Santo.
Well, I think it's pretty close with Ron Santo. Ron Santo is an established veteran who's done well year in and year out in the big time. He's a star. I don't know if we can make him a superstar yet, but he is a star.
Well, if you look...
Bailey is having a good year, yes, and you can't take that away from him. Bailey is going to have his best year ever in the bigs. Better than 1970 when he hit 28 home runs.
Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your call. I'm told that Johnny Rodgers is on his way to the Sports Wrap microphone. We will wait and see what happens. It's beyond my control now, and of course yours. It's disappointing for you as it is for me. But we will wait, and hopefully Rodgers will be here. And then we can get it strictly on football and the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL. The numbers to call are 790-0933 and 630-8611. Back to the line. Sports Wrap. You're on the air.
Hello, Ted. It's the Stallion calling.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm fine, and how are you?
Okay.
I was expecting to talk to Johnny Rodgers, but
so was I.
had something else in mind. I sort of figured that maybe I could ask you a baseball question or make a comment.
Well, this is it. This is your opportunity now.
Yeah, but I'd also like to ask you a football question, that I was going to ask Johnny Rodgers.
Well, all right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll
And if it's too difficult, I'm going to save it for Rodgers.
Okay. I'll ask you the football question first.
Yeah.
The Expos, the Alouettes, how do they get a player's rights? How do the CFL get an American player's rights? I don't know how that happens. Do they have a draft or something?
No, there's no American draft for the CFL. There is a college draft. I think you and I talked about this or somebody else about a week or two ago. And there is no other draft than a Canadian college draft. In other words, you're wondering how the Alouettes got a hold of Johnny R.?
Right,
Okay. Now, I will not answer that question. Rodgers will be here, and I'll throw that out for you, Stallion.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I won't forget, because that's a good question. It's not a difficult one to answer, but I would rather Johnny Rodgers tell his story, how he came to the Alouettes.
Okay, can I comment on the Expos now?
Oh, yeah.
What's happening to them? They're getting the great pitching now from everybody, even Torres.
Uh-huh.
And they're getting the clutch hitting.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting the hits they used to get. Now they're just getting the clutch hitting.
Yeah.
And I right now, at this moment, I realize that with the Alouettes going great, they have a great chance to win the Grey Cup. Canadians already won the Stanley Cup. We could have a triple championship in this city.
It is a city of champions, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Stallion,
Yeah?
you're my man. Okay, I'm going to ask him that question.
Okay, thanks a lot.
If and when he gets here. Thanks for your call. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The numbers to call are 630-8611 and 790-0933. And this is Sports Wrap. I'm Ted Teven. And while we're waiting for Johnny Rodgers, I have to tell you, those buses are rolling to Saratoga. You know Ron Turcotte had 5 winners the other day? Yeah, I checked that out. Ron Turcotte. 5 winners and 6 mounts at Saratoga. Must be the mountain air, the Adirondack air or something. But to get back to those air-conditioned buses, if you go to gate number 5 at the bus terminus at Barry Street, there will be buses rolling again Saturday morning. Not tomorrow, but Saturday morning again to Saratoga. So for Saturday, they're asking you to be there before 9 o'clock at gate number 5 at the Barry Street bus terminus. Now, for reservations, to make sure that you have a seat or 2 or whatever you need, here's the number, 381-0261. 381-0261. And you'll get there in plenty of time. But the main thing is no parking problems. They had a record crowd at Saratoga last Saturday. Those who went on these beautiful air-conditioned buses, and there were a lot of you, I'm told, had the time of your lives. A lot of you have never been to Saratoga before. There was one particular gentleman with his wife heard about it on this show and told the tour organizer, why have I not been coming here for the past 10 years? Because it is beautiful. And it is. I'm not sending you there to gamble, to bet on horses. I'm telling you to go there and have one beautiful day. You have never, ever seen anything like Saratoga Racetrack. I don't care if you've been to Big A, Belmont, Hollywood Park, Santa Anita, Bluebonnets. I don't care where you've been. You've never seen a more beautiful setting than Saratoga. And you can get there 381-0261, Saturday morning, Gate 5 on Berry Street. Back to the lines. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I'm a Hawks fan who phoned the other night, and I guess I disappointed you with my questions, so I'll try a little harder tonight.
Okay.
You were talking last night to a gentleman about Henry Aaron.
Yeah.
And so I looked up some statistics on him.
Uh-huh.
And in his 12 years that he played in Milwaukee, he hit 185 home runs in County Stadium, compared to 136 prior to this year in the launching pad. And his career high was 47 in 1971. But it's hard to believe, but he didn't even lead the league when Stargell hit 48.
Uh-huh.
He did lead the league. However, I think it was 4 times. He did 3 times with 44 homers. And I'd also like to...
Well, what do you think about all that? You know, they're all numbers, but now give me your opinion on Hank Aaron.
Well, right now I'm really happy that he's going after Lou's record.
Well, that's what I want to hear, you know, whether you're happy or sad.
It's too bad, though, like that he can't do it. It's doubtful he'll do it at Jerry Park.
Well, no, I don't think he's going to break the record here because they're here the 17th, 18th, and 19th of this month.
And
how are they doing tonight? Do you know how that game is with the Braves and St. Louis?
It was an American League score, so...
Uh-huh. Well...
Another thing I'd like to talk about, I'd like to disagree with the Point Kid when he talks about Willie Mays, you know. I think it's a shame that Willie Mays is still trying to hang on, because the way he's playing this year, when people look back at his career, they're going to see his last year, and they're going to think, well, he certainly hung on after he was a real major leaguer.
Well, it's a good point, but I think anybody who knows anything about baseball will ignore 1973 because this is not the Willie Mays. Did you hear a caller last night who
Yes.
informed me that Willie Mays, I was sad.
Well, I saw that game too, Ted. And
What happened? Tell me that again.
Willie Mays fielded a ball in the outfield,
Mm-hmm.
and Stork Theodore was over in left field.
Yeah.
And he couldn't throw the ball into the infield, and he threw it over to Theodore to get it into the infield. And I think Theodore, my personal opinion was that Theodore was so shocked at seeing the superstar, you know, couldn't get it in, that the ball just went right over his head.
Doesn't that sadden you?
Yeah, I think it's...
It's just a sad, well, that's the only word, a sad situation.
It's
Where Willie Mays,
really disappointing when you know
to say, hey, kid, cannot throw the ball at
possibly
any given
baseball's,
time.
well,
back into
definitely
the
one of
infield.
baseball's greatest all-time players.
It really breaks me up because Willie Mays, as you have just said, has got to be one of the 10
Definitely.
great all-time players who have ever played the game of rounders. Okay? Thanks for your call. We're moving. The numbers to call here on Sports Wrap as we wait for Johnny Rodgers, the incredible Johnny Rodgers. I think he could run faster here than that taxi's bringing him. 630-8611 and 790-0933. Those of you who saw the game the other night at the Autostad, you weren't disappointed. There were 23,000 plus or something. Apparently it's larger than the crowds have been. Levy, the coach, Coach Marv Levy's put together a winner. He doesn't use Rodgers all the time. Doesn't have to. He's got other guys who can carry the ball. But the people did come to see Johnny Rodgers, no question about it. But you've got John Harvey, number 30. Cecil Bowens. Oh, they got some good ones. Smith. George Myra's been playing very well. I'm looking forward to the day when Jimmy Jones will have to go in at quarterback. Back to the lines? Okay. You're on the air.
Hello, Ted.
Yeah.
I had a few questions directed to Johnny Rodgers, but seeing he's not there, I'll ask you a few baseball questions.
Well, he will be here after.
Right. Number one, first of all, I saw your show last fall, and I thought it was phenomenal. On Channel 5, I think it was WPTZ on Sundays.
With Bob Perry.
Yeah, right, Bob Perry. And you know your sports very well. I can compliment you on that. However, you stated, I think at that time, I'm going to prove you wrong right now anyways, because you had stated...
First you flatter me, and then you shaft me.
No, really. You had stated that, I don't know your... what was your colleague's name again?
Bob Perry.
Right, Bob Perry stated that the Expos were a contender this year, whereas you stated they were not. And to my recollection, you had put down Gene Mock indirectly. True or false?
Not indirectly at all.
Or directly?
Directly true. True.
In other words, Bob Perry had stated that they had a tremendous pitching staff.
Bob Perry is a fan of Gene Mock's, and he's entitled to be, and has been for a long time, and I haven't been.
Right, okay, you haven't been. Do you still feel that way?
Oh, yes?
Eh?
Yes, because I feel that right now, and I discussed this with the beautiful Ann Mendelson about 9 o'clock earlier this evening, and she seemed to agree with me. She's a pretty astute observer of baseball. She happened to agree with me. I don't think that man for man, the Expos have to take a back seat to any other club in their division.
I agree with you, 100%.
You know that?
I
So
agree.
therefore, all I have said is this, to get the record straight in your mind, because it's very clear in mine. Jim Fanning, general manager of the Montreal Expos, has made many astute trades. He has provided the field manager, Gene Mock, with the players. You've just agreed with that. That they have the players. They don't have to take a back seat in very many positions to any other club in their division, right?
Right.
Now what I'm saying and have said is if Mock cannot do the job, then there's something very wrong, because Fanning has provided him the horses, the players, the troops.
With the personnel.
Right, the personnel. That's a word I haven't used yet. Now, is there anything the matter with that?
No, okay, I'll agree with you on that point.
You don't have to, but
I will.
my opinion.
You seem to be very knowledgeable. Now, I'd like to, first of all, I think, number one, Johnny Rodgers has to be the greatest thing the CFL has ever had. He's got to be he's making the CFL this year, in my opinion.
Well, I haven't seen every game in the CFL since its inception, but my God, what Rodgers has shown and the way he's being utilized by Marv Levy is extraordinary. This guy is being used properly by a knowledgeable coach, a man with great experience.
I would say a little more than knowledgeable,
Right.
in my opinion.
Okay, throw me out another adjective.
Right, put it this way, I have been following the Alouettes for many years right now.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, when I saw the green and white game,
Mm-hmm.
just the performance
Mhm.
of the personnel that he had in the green and white game told me that they were going to be a winner this year. Whereas all my fellow colleagues laughed at me. They
Oh.
said, "You red and white in exhibition and whatnot."
No, you were right. You were right. You could see it.
So I think Levy is a genius, utilizing the personnel he has.
Do they have to win the Grey Cup for Levy to remain in your good books?
Definitely not.
I'm with you.
In my opinion, they don't have to win the Grey Cup.
I'm with you.
As long as he produces a winner during the season, I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I don't think we have to put the pressure on Levy and his 32-man roster. Hey, what do you think about that trade for Steve Smear to the...
I thought it was a steal at the time. I said Smear, in my opinion, Smear is a great ball player, but I felt he was a little overrated. Whereas Lester himself has proven to be a great player in the last 5 years, in my opinion.
Have you been listening fairly regularly to this particular program?
No, I haven't. As a matter of fact, I just tuned in. This is the first night I have tuned in due to a friend telling me that the show was on. I was not aware of this particular show.
All right, sir. Well, let me repeat for your benefit that when that trade was announced,
Right.
I went on record as saying that Marv Lester is the type of player
Right.
that they need back in Montreal.
You proved it. As a matter of
Back home again comes Marv Lester.
Thank you very much. If I recall, he used to be a flanker for us.
That's right.
And he was a fair ball player at that time, and I was very disappointed to see him go, in my personal opinion. And I think another steal was the fact that we got Glenn Weir from our Cosmos.
Yeah, Weir is something else. Cosmo's a pretty good ball player. But you notice one thing.
I would say we have a Canadian for an import, and what is he, 22 years old, Weir?
Yeah.
And from watching the games, he's impressed me immensely. Really, he has.
You notice the various formations that Marv Levy has set up. He's got Rodgers going at split end.
Right.
And then Rodgers comes in another position.
Yes.
And you've got Dallariva tight end.
Right.
And Brian Jack can come in at any time at either split end or tight end.
You are correct.
Braggins can come in for Randall. Bonnet comes in for Braggins. Bonnet can come in at center for Conrad. Bonnet for George, although, you know, George, he's something else.
I thought he actually put Hamilton to shame in the first game by bringing fellows in like, we'll say, Mike Maloney, Buono.
Yeah, I haven't come to him yet. And then you've got...
His personnel the first game against Hamilton, he was actually putting them to shame.
And then you've got Yoakum at left tackle.
In my opinion, and quote me here, he is going to be, this year, the most outstanding offensive lineman in the CFL.
I couldn't agree with you more, and you've just been quoted. You're on record right now.
You can keep put me on record.
Okay, now, you see, if anything happens to Yoakum at any given time, Ed George can come in there at left tackle. That's the way Levy has got all this set up. Now you got Evanston, and then you got Allen right near him. He's got everything marked here, even who the holders are for field goals.
You're 100% correct. Let me put another point across to you. Now, you saw Harvey perform, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is a fair ball player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's a little better than average player.
Yeah.
But you must admit the offensive line made him look a little better than what I think he really is.
Well, the offensive line is really good, and they're there to do that job. I saw a block.
Can I interrupt for a moment?
Go ahead.
It puzzles me. I have watched Cecil Bones, and I feel that the ball is not being given to Cecil Bones as much as I would like it to be given to him. I feel he's giving the ball more to Larry Smith, whereas I feel he should be giving it to Bones, because I think Bones is a little better runner than Smith.
Well, we'll wait and see. What I did want to mention to you, and let's keep track of that Bowen-Smith situation, because...
I'm not taking anything away from Smith. I mean, I think he's a great ball player as far as Canadians go, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that Cecil has impressed me more and more every game. Since I saw the green and white game, for all the exhibition games, up to even, Tuesday's game, he has impressed me more every game as a ball player and a blocker.
I think you're right there. Now, Rodgers impressed the people so much when he threw a block. Did you see that?
The block on?
Did you see a block that he threw?
Wells. He threw it on Wells.
Yeah, was it on Wells?
I feel it was on Wells. I saw that because I was right on the 40-yard line.
Were you? Huge guy.
That
He spun, Johnny Rodgers spun Wells up in the air, and Myra got that pass away. And, sir, let me tell you something now. Johnny Rodgers has just walked into our sports wrap microphone, and I'm glad you're still on, because you've got a couple of questions. But hold on for a minute. I want to say hello to Johnny myself. Johnny, I'm glad you're here. My man.
Nice to be here, Ted. I had a friend of mine who was supposed to bring me up here earlier, and I haven't been able to find him, and I don't really know Montreal well enough to get here by myself. I never would have found it.
Sir?
Yes.
Okay, you've got a couple of questions for Johnny R. He's right here, and let me thank Peter Michaels for doing his thing. He went right out there to wait for that taxi cab. So this was a real team effort here. Go ahead, sir. You're on the air with Johnny Rodgers.
Johnny?
Yeah.
First of all, I heard some comments on the post-game show which you had quoted saying you are an ordinary superstar. Well, in my opinion, from watching you in college ball as well as in professional ball this year, you are a superstar.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I just, I feel I would like to be a superstar, but I feel I'm just ordinary, really, and
no.
I feel that I should be confident. I don't want to be overconfident, but I feel I should have a lot of confidence in myself, or else how can I expect the fans to have confidence in me?
I have to agree with you. What makes you the superstar is your guts and determination. Whereas I will take an example of a player who has a lot of ability in Leon McQuaid of the Toronto Argonauts, who, I don't know if you've watched him in the past. I don't think you know him too well. But he has tremendous ability. However, he does not have the desire or the determination as a player like yourself. And he cannot be categorized in your category. You are simply a superstar.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sir, I thank you for your call, and I'm glad that you found out that this show is on the air now, and you were on the air at the right time to talk to Johnny. Thanks very much.
Well, anytime you'd like to come up for supper, you're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Do that.
Johnny, I guess that was quite a hectic taxi ride.
Oh, it was quite a ways, too. I live out on Nuns Island, and that seems to be a ways from here.
Well, we're very, very happy that you're here, and a lot of people have been saving questions for you. Let me throw this one out that a regular caller wanted to... Yeah,
the Stallion?
Yeah, the Stallion. Oh, you were listening in the car, eh?
Yeah, I was listening on the way out.
What is the answer to that? How do American football players arrive in Canada?
Well, they have a Canadian draft list that they have. They don't have the regular draft where they put in a paper, whatever. They do that with the Canadian football players in colleges. And they just have a list that a lot of teams just agree on, that they get, they just start picking. And they just, I've been on the Montreal Alouettes draft list for about 2 years now. When I was a junior in high school, when you're I'm junior in college, excuse me. When you're a junior in college, you're able to, a lot of, like Leon McCoy, I think, left when he was a sophomore or junior, and a lot of football players that who can't make the grades a lot of times come up a little earlier. But it's more or less, it's outside the NFL draft, but it's given the type of a buffer where you have a NFL-AFL merger, except for it's the CFL now, and it's, I think in the future it's going to really provide a better opportunity for football players that can't get the monies that they want in the AFL to have an opportunity to really get maybe what they feel that they're worth in the CFL.
Well, John, Montreal, and I think all of Canada is so glad that you're here in the CFL, because now, and I've heard this mentioned before, some American ball players will come up here and they'll say, "Where do you play?" CFL. And they say, "Oh, isn't that the league where the Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Rodgers is?" So you've added a certain, if you'll excuse the play on words, luster to the CFL. Okay, let's take some calls, and let's try to make them as brief as possible so that as many people as possible can get on with Johnny Rodgers. You're on the air.
Hello, Ted.
Yeah.
Can I speak to,
Yes, go right ahead, please.
Right here.
when Sonny Wade gets off the critical list, and he's playing for the Alouettes, do you think he'll be playing as a quarterback when he gets out?
You said Sonny Wade?
Yes.
I really don't know what they plan to do with Sonny. Sonny started working out with us again today, and he seemed to have gotten over his stomach injury, and he's throwing the ball good and all. But George Meyer is really doing a heck of a job, and they feel that Jimmy Jones is a heck of a quarterback too, but they haven't had a chance to use him. So I don't know really what type of an adjustment period that Sonny might have to go through before they decide to use him.
Yeah, because I think, George Meyer is doing a real terrific job right now, and, I think he should stay there for a while before they put Sonny Wade on.
Okay, sir, I thank you for your call, and let's try to keep them more directed to Johnny Rodgers himself rather than the policies of the Alouette Football Club. Let's go to this line, Johnny. You're on the air with Johnny Rodgers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I talk to Superfly, please?
You've got him right here.
Superfly.
Right on.
Yeah, what's happening?
You got it. Who are you? What's your name?
You know me. From Nebraska?
From Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to tell me your name. I don't know voices.
Marty.
Who?
Marty.
Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Marty.
Okay, anyways, listen. Okay, yesterday I was having a discussion with Ted Teevan, right?
Right.
Concerning drugs in sports. Now, you're here. I want to ask you some questions about this.
All right, go right ahead.
Okay, first of all, is it really a serious problem in the professional football? Is it really a serious problem, drugs? Like, are a lot of players taking it or what?
Well, I think drugs is the problem, but I think it depends a lot on the location of the team, on how easy drugs are to get or how the community is around this thing. I don't think that, you'd be more geared to have a lot of drugs in places like New York and L.A. or whatever, like on the coast and whatever. And I don't think that a lot of athletes really take as many drugs as people claim them to take, because I think that an athlete has to be mentally sharp as well as physically sharp, and I feel that drugs take this away from him, and this is his way of making his living. I don't think he would intentionally take this away from himself. So I can't really think that it would be as serious as they say it is, yet, it's a lot of talk about it.
Now, they're talking to the NFL that players are going to be taking your analysis test this year. How would you feel about that in the CFL?
They're going to be taking knowledge tests?
No, your analysis.
Your analysis? Well, I think that would be just fine. I suppose that would be a lot better than just having to go around people are talking about it and not really knowing, because I think that would clear up the whole thing for once and for all, because I don't really think that a good athlete can participate and indulge in drugs and then still go out and give a 100% job on the football
I heard
field.
an interview with O.J. Simpson and Larry Brown. They said they wouldn't like to be treated like horses. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's pretty much the same way. That's some people might have drinking problems, but I don't think that they would dig that back into their private lives and check out their drinking problems. And other people might have certain different problems, and it might be just only a few. But I don't really think football. When you come to football to play on Saturdays and you play on Saturday, what you do on Monday and Tuesday is not really the people who you entertain on Saturdays, really personal affairs.
I know you were drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers. What made you choose football over baseball?
Well, I didn't really choose football over baseball at the time. I just decided I would go to school, and if something was to happen, if I was good enough for them to draft me at baseball out of high school,
Right.
then I felt that if I went to school and played good baseball in college and I played football, that since we didn't have the AFL merger, that at the time I was thinking that I could have a merger between the baseball league and the football league and come up with more money. But as it was, I had to drop baseball along the way because we had spring practices which coincided with the baseball season, and I had to really pick football. But instead of having baseball as the merger, I came up with the CFL.
Now, a serious
Marty,
in Montreal.
Marty, are you there? Marty, are you the guy that